revolution will not be televised, and be no rerun, brothers and sisters. The revolution will be live.
Which agency?
I can't say that here in an open hearing.
You saved me.
Yes. Why?
Homeland, Season 6, Episode 3, The Covenant, and I was looking forward to this episode, I definitely will say, but as you guys know, I haven't been loving this season. I've loved a lot of things about it. I think they've gone some very interesting directions, but just like Season 5, I don't have this urge to watch Homeland. Just it's a show that I watch, but it's not really a show. It's like, oh, I can't wait for the next episode of Homeland. It's just kind of on. It really is. It's just kind of on, and this is a problem Homeland's been having, I think, since, like, Season 4. Really, they've been having this problem. This episode, for me, was the weakest of the three. I will definitely say that. I think that there definitely was some interesting stuff going on, but the editing was really all over the place. They didn't really focus on what I wanted to focus on, and it was kind of boring. I definitely will say that. So let's just get in this episode because I do want to talk about it. And once again, we start off, and already I'm uninterested because Quinn, we see he's waking up screaming from a nightmare. He's reimagining the break-in that happened in episode 1, which I do find that interesting that this break-in happened, but basically, Carrie rushes to check on him, comforts him, and basically is trying to get him to calm down. And while she's hugging him, he tries to slip a hand up her shirt, and she snaps at him, demands to know what he's doing, and she then scolds him, and this made no sense to me. We clearly saw in episode 1, he told her straight out, "You're bad for me. I can't be with you." Why is he all of a sudden wanting to get close to her? It just, that doesn't make sense why they're going in that direction. He didn't want to be close to her in the first place. He wasn't supposed to be close to her. She's bad for him. Why is he now trying to, you know, why is he now trying to develop feelings for her? That didn't make any sense to me whatsoever. And the show really does not seem to be very consistent when it comes to Quinn. He just kind of seems to be here, and Carrie then snaps at him, demands to know what he's doing. She scolds him and reminds him that her daughter's upstairs and he needs to get it together because obviously she's upstairs. So she then receives a phone call from Rita, and obviously, like I said, you know, not the greatest start for the episode, definitely not really off to a great start. Luckily, the rest of the episode isn't, it is a little bit better than that because she does get a phone call from Rita. He demands that she come straight to the office, apparently online calls from the FBI, and he's furious that Carrie ignored a court order and was questioning his informant because now we know that, you know, the informant, you know, we know the informant was Saad, and, you know, she's saying that they need to stay away from Saad because obviously the FBI is not too happy that they're trying to get Saad to be, you know, they're trying to make Saad guilty. You know, the FBI has done what they can to try to cover that up, and it's a very, you know, you can tell it's a very, he's a dirty cop, it's a very dirty organization, but nevertheless, you know, they still need to do what they need to do. He's there to be an informant, and Carrie is kind of, you know, ruining his job. So I did think this was interesting overall. Unfortunately, the episode doesn't focus on it nearly as much as it should. Most of this episode focuses on Saul, actually. His stay in Abu Dhabi, and while Saul was once an interesting character, at this point, he's just there to be thrown into problems. I feel like that's the only reason why Saul's on the show. Mandy Patinkin is great as the character, and him and Carrie have always had this very good relationship, but I feel like ever since Season 4, they've never really known what to do with him. He always seems to be, you know, with someone, and then they betray him, or he's fucked over. Ever since Season 4, Saul has been a character that just, you know, was led into trouble. That's all that's happened to him, and that's very much what happens here. We see it looks like it's going to be an eventful one. And while riding in a cab, the driver notices that they're being trailed. He hops out of the car and is picked up in a crowd on a busy sidewalk by his contact, a woman on a motorcycle. And Carrie then arrives at the office. Rita is not a happy camper. He just got off the phone with the judge. They withdrew Seku's plea deal, and now he's going to trial because of what Carrie did, we find out. So it looks like they're going to trial, and Seku's going to face 15 years, and Rita's having second thoughts about working with Carrie, because he can tell that she really is not the best in, you know, this kind of information. She really should be a lot better at this, but she's not for some reason. And in Abu Dhabi, Saul works with the Israelis to set up a meeting with Farid Nafsi, an Iranian delegate who's negotiating an arms deal on behalf of Iran, and the Israelis then basically kidnap Nafsi, and they blackmail him with photos of him having an affair with a woman from Israel, which I'm not gonna lie, that woman was pretty attractive. I probably would have, you know, I would have been with her too, definitely. I mean, I don't know what, I'm not saying that I condone affairs, but I can understand why Nazi liked her and their whole thing that was going on there. I didn't mind some nice cleavage from her and things like that, and it definitely did help the scene be a little less boring, because I really did not care about this plot, to be honest with you. I did not care about what was going on with Saul. I didn't really care till the very end. There's one scene with Saul toward the end that I really did like, but it's not even really that big of the part of the plot. So Carrie then heads to the prison, and we get by far the best scene here. This was definitely my favorite scene of the episode. She meets with Sekou and basically explains that she screwed up and confronted Saad, and the Drudge is withdrawing the plea deal. And Sekou understandably freaks out, and you can definitely understand why he's freaking out, because again, he wants to see his family. You know, he's talking about how he's not gonna get out of there till he's 40. You know, he wants to be able to, you know, get out of there and see his family and go back to his normal life, who he very much cares about. He can't see his father. I mean, there's a lot of things going on with Sekou, and you can really see what he's going through here, that he really does want to get out of here. And now, you know, he's leaving it all in the hands of Carrie, but Carrie is not really the most trustworthy type of, you know, the most trustworthy type of person to work with. She just doesn't really seem like she has her facts together. It really does not seem like things are going well for Sekou. Unfortunately, this is the only scene with Sekou throughout the entire episode. After this, it focuses on something completely unrelated, and it really does suck, because it is the best scene in the episode, but unfortunately, the episode barely focuses on it, and it should focus on it a lot more, because that is by far the most interesting thing going on right now. So Carrie promises to fix it, but he doesn't want to hear anything else she has to say. He marches out of the visitation room, and it's understandable. I mean, again, you know, she really was not loyal to him with this. She, you know, promised him something, and now she's denying it, and it's really not going well for Sekou at all. So Saul then goes through Nafsi's phone and learns that he has a 120 million line of credit at First Emirates Bank. He has withdrawn over half of it, and it is in the last few weeks, and Saul's certain that he's using the money to fund terrorism, we find out, which that's pretty crazy to think about. But yeah, he actually might be using this money to basically be a terrorist and have this terrorist organization, which is insane. But Nafsi claims that the money is for a down payment on Russia anti-aircraft batteries, and the Russians are making them available until next year, but Iran's getting access to theirs early, and he laughs off Saul's accusations and says he has never been to North Korea. And I will definitely say there was a lot of tension throughout this scene between these two, and he cuts Nafsi loose, but warns him to stay in line. He better be telling the truth, or else they will email the photos to everyone in Nafsi's contact list. So this definitely does seem like something that's going to affect Saul very quickly, that Nafsi definitely is not someone he can trust. Nafsi's definitely going to come after him in some way. So I don't really know where that's going to go. I think that definitely is going to be quite interesting as to where that whole thing with Nafsi goes. But after the interview, he shreds Nafsi's file before he heads home, and something intrigues him about Nafsi's empty cigarette pack, and he puts it into his pocket, so we don't really know what that's about. But Carrie then pops up unexpectedly at Roger's house, and she asks him to do her a favor and pull up phone conversations between Conlon and Saad. And Roger's appalled she would even ask him something like that, and warns that this is the kind of thing that ends careers. I mean, these are private conversations that, you know, are in documentation. These aren't the kind of things that are supposed to be shared, but what Carrie's doing here is very, very risky and really could get Roger in a lot of trouble. But, you know, they really have to go to desperate measures, and I do like the way that Carrie is trying to help Sekou, but things like this, I mean, she's really not thinking this through at all. This is the kind of thing that could get you into deep shit, and I mean, she really doesn't think these things through. So Saul then calls Dar, tells him that he's taking an unplanned trip to see his sister after he leaves Abu Dhabi, and Dar's gonna have to brief President Keen on his own. Now, as we know, Dar has his own kind of thing going on, and he heads to Keen's office. He exaggerates a bit, says that according to Saul, the Iranians have definitely violated the nuclear agreement, and they're working with Korea. The thing is, though, that Saul wasn't sure that their suspicions were right, so he really does not know if that's actually true, what's going on there, if they actually are working with Korea, if they actually are a terrorist organization. And again, this scene doesn't really do much of anything. It just kind of gives Dar something to do in the episode. And we know that, you know, Keen's working with Carrie anyway, so we're not really feeling anything towards the scene. There's not really any doubt or anything like that. And while this scene is supposed to heighten tension, it really didn't do much of anything for me and just kind of was there. But at Carrie's office, she receives a bouquet of flowers, and in the envelope is a flash drive from Roger with Conlon. Now, I thought this bouquet of flowers was going to be from During, because we haven't seen During since the first episode. It feels very strange that we had that huge cliffhanger in Season 5, and we haven't seen During since. You know, we've only seen him in one scene in Season 6, and it's kind of weird he's not there. But we see a flash drive from Roger with Conlon and Saad's conversations on it, and on the recording, Saad clearly tells Conlon that Sekou is not their guy nor a terrorist, that he definitely is a good guy, but Conlon pressures Saad into getting Sekou to take the money from him, obviously because he wants to keep Saad on. You know, Saad is their informant. He wants to get the information he can out of him. He's not done with Saad. It's not right what Conlon's doing, but this kind of thing happens all the time, where law informants, you know, will basically be let go completely, and the innocent one will be penalized for something that they didn't do because the person that actually did it is a lawman, and the lawman won't get in trouble because he is a lawman, and they need to keep him on to do his job. So in order to protect him, they protect, you know, so they make someone else guilty with nothing to them. That's kind of the exact same thing that's going on with Sekou. So Carrie then marches into Conlon's office, ready to scream at him, plays a recording for him, and she accused him of fabricating evidence and obstructing justice, and Carrie tells Conlon to drop the charges against Sekou, or else she's taking the recording to the Attorney General and letting him know what Conlon has been up to. And again, this isn't really up to Carrie. This is something that Conlon's already done, and does Carrie really, you know, does she really have a case? And I do like the way she tells Conlon, you know, that he can't just arrest someone because he thinks that they did it. You know, we know in reality that Sekou did nothing. We definitely see that Sekou really did nothing. There's nothing that really happened with Sekou. He wasn't guilty of any charge, and because of that, you know, he should be left completely off the hook. But for some reason, they're not doing that. They're keeping him there, and I'm interested in seeing really where this whole thing's going to go between Carrie and Conlon. So Quinn is home alone all day. He's not doing well. He tracks down the woman that took him to the drug den, got him robbed. This whole part I was checking out. I did not give a shit at what was going on. He demands that Clarice take her to Tommy's house, and Quinn lies, says he wants to buy his gun from him. He knocks Quinn out and steals the gun, and before Quinn leaves, he announces that they are even now. So, well, actually, he doesn't knock Quinn out. Quinn knocks him out, I guess, to even the score, but what is Quinn really trying to do here? I don't get where they're trying to go with this arc. On one hand, you have Quinn. He's constantly addicted to drugs, and he's going to all these drug dens and partying and things like that. Then you have the other Quinn who wants to get better and, you know, wants to do whatever he can to keep his distance from Carrie because he can't be with her. But yet he still is kind of caring about her, though he's kind of not. His arc is so confusing. I have no idea where they're going with this character. Does he want to get better? Does he not want to get better? He doesn't want to be taken to the hospital, but he does want to get better. It doesn't make any sense. This is not Peter Quinn. Peter Quinn is not this softy guy and this guy who just is addicted to drugs. That's not Peter Quinn. Peter Quinn's supposed to be this action type, Jason Bourne type character, and that's not at all what they've done with him. They've turned him instead into your typical, you know, druggy type character, and the thing is, that's Carrie. That's Carrie's character. Carrie is supposed to be the one that has these problems. Quinn should not be having all of these problems, and I think the show really is not realizing that. And I mean, for 6 seasons now, you think they realize who their characters are, but I guess not. I guess no, we can never end the show, because God forbid something, you know, substantial actually happens or actually affects the plot. That's not what's going on with Quinn, and that really is starting to piss me off. I have no idea where they're going here, and it's really not a good thing at all. So Carrie then heads to a secret meeting with President Keane, and Keane fills her in on what Dar told her about Iran and their program with North Korea. Carrie's very skeptical, and she tells Keane that she may not be able to trust Dar and to wait for Saul's report when he returns before she makes any decisions, because she really knows that Dar is obviously against them, that they haven't been able to trust Dar in the past, so why would they now? Little do Carrie and Keane know, Dar has actually bugged the entire place. He's listening in on their entire conversation, and again, I don't know what Dar's really trying to do, but this was definitely interesting. I'm interested in seeing where this is going to go, and it definitely would have been a much better ending than the one we get, because the one we get here, I don't care about at all. I really do not care about what's going on here. Carrie gets home late at night. She heads inside. Little does she know, Quinn's lurking in the shadows next to her house with his new gun. He's convinced that someone's watching him and coming for him. Saul ends up getting kidnapped. We see very quickly Saul is actually kidnapped by a few people. There was this great scene he had with his sister, but that is the way the episode ends overall. Let's just get into this episode and talk about where we're going to go from here, because I really don't know. So overall, this was a particularly boring episode. There really was not a ton going on here that I cared about. I really only cared about the stuff with Carrie and Conlon. Other than that, I didn't really care. It's the same type of terrorist organization stuff, but at the same time, we can tell that Dar is actually not telling the truth. There's clearly more to his plan that we don't know about, and you think I'd care, but I don't. I don't find it interesting. I don't find it to be something that keeps me, you know, intrigued. It's something that's annoying. Dar's only on the show to cause problems, and I think it's really dumb that they're doing that. You know, these characters are not really characters anymore. If I haven't made that clear yet, I will make that clear now. These characters are not really characters. They're on the show to do things. Carrie's there to extract information and help out people and, you know, make innocent people, you know, get people to be innocent and things like that. Quinn's there to complain about needing drugs. Saul's just there to get kidnapped and get in trouble. And Dar's there to cause problems. That's really the only reason these characters are here. And then Keen, I don't know what Keen's doing. Keen's just kind of on the show, and she's Carrie's her advisor. I don't really know what else is going on. But I am interested in seeing where that's going to go with Dar bugging the entire place. I just don't really know where they're going with that. I do like Carrie and Conlon, though. This is very interesting. Carrie now has a case to go against Conlon. There's so much evidence she has that proves that Sekou is innocent. But there's just as many ways where Sekou could take the fall for Saad, and Sekou could do what he can to get Saad to stay innocent, you know, to be proven innocent and things like that. But as we know, you know, Sekou wants out. He doesn't want to be there forever. He wants a way to get out. So I think at the end of the day, Sekou is going to prove that this was a crime of injustice and what he did, he had nothing to do with, and that this was all Saad's fault. Because, yeah, it was. I mean, Conlon is the one who's covering up everything, and I don't think he's going to be getting away with it for that much longer. At least from what it seems like to me, Carrie is going to find out. She's going to get him in trouble, and that's something I'm definitely looking forward to seeing is what ends up happening with Carrie and Conlon. I think that definitely is going to be a very interesting storyline. Quinn, I just don't care about. Honestly, I'm at the point where I don't want to talk about Quinn anymore because it's so irrelevant. Everything else going on feels like Homeland. Quinn's stuff feels like a completely different show. Again, it just feels like Quinn's here just to be here. There's no reason for Peter Quinn to be on the show, and it's getting more and more irrelevant and more troublesome as the show goes on, especially if the show starts to focus on it a lot more. Then it's really going to annoy me because the show can't figure out anything interesting to do with him. He doesn't have any consistency in his character. 1 second he's telling Carrie, you know, don't be with me, I'm not good for you. Then this episode he's like rubbing his hand up her shirt. I mean, what the hell are you doing, dude? Really? Like, you need to make up your mind here. You can't say you don't want her and then try to get her. It doesn't work that way. You need to pick one of those two things and then you can decide, you know, what you really want to do. Because really it's just not working at all. It really is very inconsistent what's going on with Quinn. There was one good scene with Saul where he went to see his sister and they kind of talked about the damage that he went through with Mira and how things didn't work out well with them. And it reminds us that Saul once was a good character. They actually did have some good character development. Now, Saul's just there to get in trouble and get kidnapped, and it's the same bullshit what's going on there. Guys, I'm close to dropping out. I'm not gonna lie. I'm very close to dropping out of this show. The only thing I really care about right now is Carrie and Conlon. The other stuff, I just can't find myself to care about. Dar, I don't care about. I don't care about Saul, really. I once cared about these characters, but the show is not utilizing them in the way they should be at all. They're not doing the things that they should be with these characters, and in general, I'm only really interested in what's going on with Sekou and Carrie. If this entire show was just about Carrie trying to prove this kid's innocence, it would be great. I think it honestly could be a great season if it was just that, but it's not. You got the Keen of it all. Now, I do like President Keen. I think Elizabeth Marvel is killing it as this character. She's doing a very good job, but they don't know what to do with her either. It seems like she's just there for Dar to use stuff against her. Isn't this season supposed to be what they're doing, you know, with the inauguration leading up to Election Day? And I'm not getting that sense at all that that's really where they're trying to go with the show, and it's really starting to piss me off with where they're really going with this. Overall, guys, this episode had maybe one or two good scenes. Definitely was the weakest of the three. Other than that, I found this episode to be quite boring, and I am going to give Homeland Season 6, Episode 3, The Covenant, a 3 out of 5 or a C. And quickly before I go, guys, I do want to give a little shout out to someone because, as you guys know, I'm trying to gain new subscribers, and I gain new subscribers every day, and it's always great to see. I'm not trying to brag, I'm just saying I do, and it's always great to see. But this one person, they've been leaving a bunch of comments on my videos, and they've been very appreciative, so I just want to shout out Pizza Dreams. I don't know exactly who she is. I believe she does gaming videos, but she subscribed to my channel recently, and she's been very dedicated and watched a lot of my videos, and I subscribe to her, so definitely check her out if you haven't. She's a very, very small YouTuber. I believe I'm like her only subscriber, so definitely check her out if you haven't. Might leave a link in the description below. Anyways, guys, I'm going to review Homeland. Let me know what you guys saw this episode. Love to hear your thoughts on it. Are you dropping out of the show? Are you getting bored of what's going on? I'm really getting bored. The show really is not doing at all what it should be doing. But that's this video. Hope you guys enjoy it. We'll see you guys in my next video. And we don't have Homeland for 2 weeks, so maybe it'll get better, but I really don't know. And we'll see you guys next video, which will be for Victoria, and we'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.